So over the past 2 years of running my business, I've invested over $20,000, which is a lot of money when I say it out loud. So here are a few things I've learned, and I kind of just want to break down the whole process and why I invested, some breakdowns of the investments, and just some stuff to share with you guys, because I feel like it's a very important topic in the world of entrepreneurship. So why exactly did I invest $20,000 into my business? So I first started my business in August of 2020. For anyone who's brand new here and doesn't know that, you can check out this video here and it'll explain more about the beginnings of my journey. But I invested, I think, a few $100 in the very beginning. I first started out on FIVERR, so there was no investment there. I already had my laptop, and that's pretty much it. All I needed really was my laptop to get started on FIVERR. It was completely free, but I did invest in a few materials to build up my skill set and my knowledge base. So I invested into a few digital products. I read a lot of books. So very, very low ticket sort of stuff in the beginning. The first year, I probably invested maybe under $1,000. I think I get a few pieces of tech equipment to help out. I know I get a new mouse, I get a phone case to help with filming. So it was literally nothing crazy, but it was kind of scary to make an investment bigger than $50 to $100. I was a broke college student. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know if this was going to be long term. So for me, I was very hesitant on investing money. I grew up in a very poor household. It was definitely a big mindset shift for me, where seeing the money come out of my bank account when I was also seeing a ton of money come in, I was like, oh, I don't want to risk it. You know what I mean? I didn't want to risk losing everything for making investments, even if it was just a few $100. So when it comes to investing in your business, I know there's a lot of objections. I know that there's a lot of hesitations, and people hesitate to invest because, especially significant amounts, more than $1,000, $10,000, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I have not invested that big yet, but I know of some people who have, and it's scary. It's very, very scary, especially the first few times when you do it, because there's the fear factor that you're going to risk it all. There's the fear that you put in all of this hard work and all of this time, and you don't want to be scammed. You don't want to be, taken advantage of, because in the online space, there's a lot of people like that, and that's the sad reality of it, but there's a lot of people like that. But something I want to clear up at the very beginning of this video is that there's always going to be a risk in investing. There's always going to be a risk, because things can happen, things can come up. Mentors aren't really who you expect. Courses might be overselling what they actually are. Digital products might be overpriced for the value that you get. It really does depend. You might be hiring on other team members and they don't perform the way you want them to be performing. So anytime you put any sort of money into your business, any sort of investment that you put in, there's always a risk. But doing your research beforehand is what's gonna make it pay off. It'll help you make a wise investment in the long run. So let's break down exactly what I've spent my money on over the past few years. So let's start small. So I've invested about $500 into digital products. So this includes guides, PDFs, ebooks, templates like Notion templates, other software specific templates, Airtable templates. So I'd say in total over the past 2 years, I've invested maybe $500 into that sort of stuff. So nothing super, super crazy. If I come across something on Etsy and I'm like, oh, this could help me, this could save me so much time. Presets, Lightroom presets. So that sort of stuff where it's just I don't really feel like putting in the time and energy to create something on my own, especially in the template realm, or I just need a little bit more information on this particular topic here, and this person is an expert in it. So about $500 in digital products. The next level up is courses. So I have spent a significant amount in courses. I've taken a bunch over the years. Started out with Alex Vasulo's course about freelancing and copywriting and all that. I took the Legendary Marketer course. I took Jonathan Montoya's affiliate marketing course. I've taken a few other affiliate marketing courses. I've taken some social media courses, some YouTube classes. So I've invested quite a bit of money into courses, and that's totaled up to about $3,000. So about $3,000 in courses, which is a decent amount. I know a lot of people who've spent way more on courses. Like $3,000 was just the price of the course. But yeah, that's what I've spent money on for courses. Next up is going to be other help. So outsourcing, VAs, copywriters, someone to help with my website. So I just categorize that as like other help. And that's about $4,500. So that is way lower than I expected it to be, but when I did all the tallying up, it was about $4,500. But that includes hiring someone to do my website for me because I didn't know how to do that. My VA that I was working with for a few months, and yeah, just any sort of other freelancers or service-based business owners who have provided me services in return. And then the last investment, the last category, is mentorship. So I've invested $12,000 into mentorship. In July of 2022, I joined Rachel Peterson's The Social Click, and that is about $1,000 a month. That is how much my mentorship with her is, which is a pretty steep price. That was definitely the whole point of this YouTube video, is talking about the mindset going into this and that whole thing. But that has been my biggest investment so far, and it will not be my last. That is probably going to be one of the smaller investments that I make throughout my entire business career. But it was my first, and it was my first big one, and it was a very, very hard thing mentally to get into. So let's talk about how I got into that. So I've been following Rachel Peterson for, I think, ever since I got started freelancing. So back in 2020, I started following her. So if we're looking at the timeline here, August of 2020 is when I started my business. I think I'd been following Rachel Peterson since probably right before COVID started. So March, maybe February of 2020. And I'd been following her, and I took a bunch of her, or I purchased a bunch of her freebies. I purchased a few smaller products that she had as well. Nothing super crazy, under $100. And yeah, for the first year or 2 years, that's all I did. I just basically watched her content. If I saw something valuable that she posted, I might have made an investment here and there, but it was very, very sporadic and nothing super crazy. Then in 2021, summer of 2021, so I guess a full year later, I heard about her mentorship program, which is The Social Click. And I was very, very nervous about it. I didn't know the price point before I hopped on a call with her, which was probably good because I totally would not have applied if I knew the price point. But at that point, I was like, I really want to be taking my business a little bit more seriously, and I think she's going to be the right person to help me with it. I kind of had that gut feeling that she was the one that would give me that next step in my journey, but I didn't really, it was way too much for me to even process in my brain. So what I did, and I still have this draft email in my email box, but I reached out and I booked a time. I booked a time to hop on a call with her, and we chatted for 20 minutes. She asked me, about my business, where I was at, some of my goals, how much I was making right now, where I wanted to be going, and how much I want to be making in the future. And it was just a quick 20-minute conversation. It was the first time I'd ever talked with her, face to face. It was just over Zoom. And I left the call thinking, wow, I really, really, really want to do this. I need to make this investment right now. So this was July of 2021, keep in mind. And I got off the call and I waited. She said she was going to send me an email, and I waited, and I got the email and inside it was yeah, we'd love to have you inside. Here's what you'll be getting. Here's all the benefits. And then at the bottom of the email was the different price points. So it was either $12,000 or $1,000 a month with a 1 year requirement, or it was $10,000 upfront. And at that time, I'd been making enough money in my business where I had the 10K in my bank, and I was like, I should just do this right now. I should just put it in and just like go all in with it. But I sat down and I talked myself out of it. And I'm glad that I did. Looking back, I'm glad that I did, because I was about to go into my senior year. I was still a full-time college student. I had no clue what I was doing with my life, and it was just over the summer when I was just focusing on my business. So I sat down and I talked myself out of it, and I'm like, Olivia, if you make this investment, like, you can't focus on anything else except for the business. You couldn't do school, and your entire reasoning for getting into the business was to pay for school. So I talked myself out of it, and I never responded to her email. That was like last of communication with her that I'd ever had. And I still have the email draft saved just for like me to look back at. But yeah, that was kind of the end of it. And I kept doing my business work. I kept, I was pretty consistent with how much I was making throughout 2021 into 2022. And in May or in April of 2022, I finally graduated. And leading up to graduation, I knew that I had a big decision to make. So I graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering, but in my heart and in my soul, I was like, this isn't what I really want to be doing. This isn't what I want to be doing full time. I don't want to be sitting at a desk and working for someone else in an engineering job. I don't want to be restricted to what I can do with my life. I want the freedom and I want the flexibility, and my business right now has given me that. Is the income a little inconsistent? Yes, but I have the freedom, and I wasn't willing to give up the freedom at that point. And I knew in my brain and in my heart and in my soul, I'm like, the decision I need to be making right now is I need to take this to the next level. So after graduation, I moved down to Tennessee with my fiance. And about a month and a half later, so July, I think it was like, everything seems to be happening in like year periods where I find her and then I invest. And anyway, so July of 2022, I filled out the form again. And this time I hopped on. I thought it was going to be with Rachel. I thought like the call was going to be face to face with her again. Instead, it was with another one of her team members. And I immediately, the first things that came out of my mouth before he could even ask me anything was, I'm ready to do this. If I don't do this right now, I'm going to talk myself out of it. And I probably will wait here for another year before I make the investment. So I did it. I told him I was going to do it. And the call literally was like 5 minutes. I sent him my card information, all the other stuff he needed to collect. And that day I was onboarded into the clique, and it was really exciting. It was an amazing feeling. I was so excited because I knew that this was going to be the next step in my business journey. And I've been in now for, this video is April, so about 9 months I've been in. And I can confidently say that I made the right decision. Here's where I want to talk more about the actual, like what I've learned from making the investment. So there's a bunch of things that I've learned from making this investment. The biggest one is that you need to put in the work in order for it to be worth your money. So in this case, the investment that I made was it was basically a group mentorship. So every month, you could book a call with one of the coaches inside. There was a Facebook group that you could join, ask all the questions. And then Rachel had this awesome portal with like literally all the information you need to know about freelancing and finding leads, finding prospects, social media. Like it's so much information. But what I've learned from this is that in order for it to be worth your investment, you need to be willing to put in the work. You can't just like say, hey, I'm gonna put this money in and then you're gonna make my business work for me. Like, that is not how this works. That is not how it works at all. Like, when you make an investment, it is on you to make it work. It's on you. Those people inside of the group, or if it's one-on-one mentorship, like, they will guide you and they will give you their strategies, they will give you the mindset work that you need, but it is on you. It is on you, and that's just the reality of it. Like, in order for your business to succeed, it is on you, no matter how much money you put into it. So that was the biggest lesson I learned, because I got started and I like digested all of the information, and then I got frustrated after a few months that nothing was working. But then I realized, like, I wasn't putting in the work that actually needed to get done, and it was just a snowball effect, which is a whole other side story, and I could totally make a whole other separate YouTube video about this. But the whole point of what I'm trying to say is, like, you need to put in the work. You need to take the resources that are given to you and run with it. Don't just like put it on the back burner and expect that everything's gonna work out and be okay, because it's not. Like, you need to do the work. The next thing I learned is that typically group mentorship programs like this are better for networking and like being in the room with the people that are bigger than you, that are making more money, that are way farther down in their entrepreneur journey, is more important than the education that you actually get from being inside of the program. And this is for group mentorship. I'm not speaking on one-on-one here, but for group mentorship at least, when you enter that room, you're only going to get so much information. The portal that Rachel has is amazing, but what's really, really incredible about what I think in my brain, in my heart, that I'm paying for, is for the network of people that I've joined. I've joined 100 other people who, come from all aspects of business, who come from, areas of life where they've been growing businesses for years now. Some people who are like me, just starting out. And it's really cool to have these opportunities to connect with other people who are like-minded. Because the courses and the information and the strategy stuff is only going to get you so far. You need to actually implement it, and you need to actually talk with people and build out your network, because in the end, those are going to be the people that get you referrals. Those are going to be the people that are going to help you grow and scale in the long term. So those were the two main things that I took away from that big investment, was that. Now, talking about other help and hiring and stuff like that again can also be a separate video, but I'm briefly going to go over like what I learned from that. And that is that hiring help is going to save you time to focus on the bigger picture things in your business. When you're running a business, you don't realize it when you first start out, but you are going to be wearing all of the hats. You are going to be the person that is doing all of the jobs, the finances, the marketing, the operations. Like, you're literally doing all of it, and it's very, very overwhelming. So making investments to help you grow and scale and focus on the things that you need to be focusing on in your business, the most important things, and then hiring out help like other freelancers, other service providers, or even getting employees to do all the nitty-gritty stuff that you don't need to be putting your attention towards. That's what's going to actually grow your business. So that is another thing that's super scary for a lot of people, is getting that first hire. That first hire is always so scary. You got to train them. You got to make sure that they know their stuff too. But it's so worth it. It's so, so worth it. When you can hire somebody onto your team, even if it's just for a few weeks or for a few months, to help you sort out some stuff that either you're not an expert in or is just draining you time-wise, it's an amazing investment. And I have not looked back on anything that I've done with freelancers or other service providers. So why is investing so important? Why is putting money back into your business so important? I think it's pretty obvious, but for me personally, it's helped me grow to over 6 figures. It's helped me build out my network of people. It's helped me figure out a lot of like deep stuff inside of myself. Like, the running joke in the business world is that like when you run a business, like you learn more about yourself than like you ever will in any aspect of life, which I think is so true. It definitely brings up all of your deepest insecurities, and it shows you like what you need to be really focusing on. And investing in myself and growing myself as a business owner has definitely opened all of that up to me as well. Another amazing thing about this is that I've been able to connect with people who are in a similar mind space, because entrepreneurship can get so lonely. it can get so lonely. So even just paying the money to be in the room with people who understand you is worth millions of dollars to me. It's worth so much money. Because like my fiance, he will never get it. My family will never get it. I work from home, and the only other people who can relate to that are the people that are in my network, that are in the masterminds and the mentorship programs that I'm in. So it's really nice to have that sort of network of people to rely on when times get hard. So, all right, now that we've talked about my investment and what I've learned, what are some tips, I guess, for you if you are about to make your first investment, or you're like, hey, I want to make an investment, I'm just not really sure like what to be looking for? Tip number one is to do your research. So there's a lot of fluff on the internet, as we all know, but definitely do your due diligence and do your research. Look for people who have success stories. Don't look for people who have just made money. Like, look for people who know their stuff. People that are good at mentorship are going to connect with you emotionally, but you need to also look at it a little bit from a logic standpoint, especially if you're putting thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into your business. Follow the person for a little bit. See how they run their business. See how they interact with other people on social media. Like, definitely, it's like when you're about to go on a date with someone and you like kind of stalk them on social media beforehand. Do that with your potential mentor as well. Look into them and figure out who they actually are, because you don't want to be throwing your money down the drain. Like, you work hard for your money, don't just throw it down the drain. And I know that's like that's not probably the advice that you're looking for, but definitely just do your due diligence and do your research. If something seems off, if the vibe isn't there, if you're not connecting with the person the way you thought you should have been, then they're probably not the right fit. It took me 2 years before I invested in Rachel, and I am very, very glad that I did. But, you know, some people find someone and after only a few days they make that investment, and that's totally fine as well. But you should trust your gut with it. Trust your gut feeling. My next tip is, when you do make the investment, make sure you put in the work and listen. Even if it's just a few golden nuggets that you get here and there, like, put in the work and listen to them, because the person that you're investing your money in is hopefully someone who has already been there and done that. They understand your pain points, they understand your problems, and they know how to get you from point A to point B. But you need to actually listen to them. You need to take what they tell you and implement it, instead of just having it go in one ear and out the other. So those are my biggest takeaways. That is my story around investing over $20,000 in my business, and I'll probably update this within the next year or so, because I know that I'm going to put more money in. I know that I'm going to put more money into my business. Do I know what yet? No. But I know that I'm going to be making way bigger jumps and leaps. So anything that I can really share is going to be valuable, and hopefully some of this helped. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.